Good morning. My name is Beth Bowden, and I'm with the Education Alliance. The Alliance exists to mobilize business and community support for public schools, and we are passionate about helping all students build career awareness and be ready for future success. And one of the ways we do that is by hosting programs like this West Virginia Ready virtual internship course. Today, I am so excited to welcome Paul Espinosa and Stephanie Reagan with Rockwool. They will be speaking with us today about career opportunities available in the manufacturing industry, and they will also provide some skill facilitation. Let me just go over a quick outline of today's module. The first 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to learn about both the manufacturing industry and the type of careers available, and we will leave time for Q&A. And the next 10 to 15 minutes, we will learn about a certain skill that they're going to introduce to us. And the remaining 10 to 15 minutes, we will finish with another round of Q&A. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Paul and Stephanie. Good morning.
Good morning, Beth. Good to be with you. Steph and I are really looking forward to presenting this morning. Want to thank both Weir High and Valley High for being with us this morning. I believe this is our second time that we participated in the job shadowing program, and really enjoyed participating last time, and we hope that you'll find the material that we shared today interesting, and would love to have you come visit us if that opportunity ever presents itself. You see here on the opening slide a picture of our 338,000 square foot manufacturing facility. It's located in Ranson, West Virginia, here in the Eastern Panhandle. For those of you that are familiar with the whereabouts of Harpers Ferry, we're probably about 10 or 15 minutes away from Harpers Ferry, so very close here to the Eastern Panhandle. We're located on 136 acres, so you can see a good bit of space for our facility. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Great. So just a little bit about who Rockwool is. As you can see here, we've been in business for quite a while, actually founded in Denmark in 1937. So we do have more than an 80-year track record in the communities in which we operate. As noted above, the insulation that we produce is used in a wide variety of applications, both residential as well as commercial installation. We actually take raw materials, including stone, and we actually melt that stone and ultimately turn it into the insulation here at our facility. So we are a global operation. Our Ranson facility here in West Virginia is actually our 48th of 51 factories located all around the world. Our Ranson factory is our 4th factory location here in the United States. We do have 2 factories in Canada, one just outside Toronto in Milton, Ontario, another factory in Grand Forks. Our first U.S. factory located down in Bahia, Mississippi, and then our first U.S. factory here in Ranson. Beth, can you see the right side of my screen? I'm just double checking. Can you see where it says Ranson on your screen? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that you could see it. My screen's not showing that. But
it's actually cut off for me as well. I thought maybe it was just my screen.
Let me try one more time here to see if
Stephanie, is it cut off for you as well?
No, I can see it.
How about the students, most importantly? Can you all see?
We're high, can see it. We're good.
Okay, we're good then. Yes.
Good. So, so our Ranson facility, as you can see, is located near the Mid-Atlantic area of the Eastern United States, as well as the Northeast United States. And that's really important for Rockwool to be located as close to our customers as possible. Even though our stone wool insulation is made out of rock, the finished product contains a lot of air. And so when we're shipping that finished product the stone wool insulation to our customers, we're essentially shipping a lot of air. So the closer that we can be to our customers, the more efficient it is, the more sustainable it is, if we can minimize the amount of transport of our materials. So that's really a big driver in locating our facility here. Actually, we're coming up on the second year of operation here at our Ranson facility. We started back in July of, that would be 21. And so July 2nd of this year will mark 2 years of operation. And it's really helped us to better serve our customers in the Northeast United States. You can see that here in North America, we have approximately 1,200 employees. We actually have about 130 here at our Ranson facility. If you look at worldwide at our 51 manufacturing facilities located around the world, I believe we have over 12,000 customers worldwide. Here you can see also on this slide, we do make a variety of products in North America. We make Rockwool, which is our stone wool insulation designed to help insulate, again, both residential facilities as well as commercial facilities. In one of our Canadian facilities, our Milton, Ontario facility just outside Toronto in Canada, we make Grodan, which is a growing medium. It looks very similar to our stone wool insulation. However, it's designed to be used in greenhouses. So if you're ever working in a greenhouse, or if you have greenhouses there in your schools, it's possible that you might use our Grodan a growing medium. It's not manufactured here at our Ranson facility, but we do make it here in North America. And finally, Rockfon, that's a ceiling tile. It's acoustical ceiling tile. It's increasingly popular because it helps to absorb sound in schools, hospitals, other areas where you want to have a nice, quiet environment, and so that explains why schools would very much like to have Rockfon ceiling tile. It really aids in having a nice, quiet learning environment. So we make that in our Mississippi factory here in the United States. But again, here in our Ranson facility, we focus on our Rockwool insulation. Here's a short video that provides an overview of our newest North American factory here in Ranson.
Since I started working here, my life has changed for the better. I have a way that I can provide for my family, move forward, and a job that I have a source of pride that I can tell my son growing up, this is what I do and this is how I make the world a better place.
Rockwool's newest state-of-the-art manufacturing facility is located in the community of Ranson, West Virginia. With 48 manufacturing facilities in 39 countries across 3 continents, our Ranson operation plays a critical role in the realization of our global purpose: to release the natural power of stone, to enrich modern living. Here, just as we do at all our locations worldwide, we will leverage the properties of stone, the most abundant and sustainable resource in nature, to help overcome complex global challenges. The insulation products made here can play a major role in combating climate change. They will have up to 30% pre-consumer recycled content and themselves be 100% recyclable. Their high R value and resistance to moisture will help increase the energy efficiency of the buildings in which they are installed, and therefore reduce carbon emissions for years to come. In keeping with our global commitment to leaving the smallest footprint possible, this facility has been built to the highest standards, with zero wastewater discharge to the environment and strict air quality regulations to protect people, animals, and the local environment. The stone wool insulation products made here will also help build safer, quieter, and healthier indoor environments. Our homes and offices will be more resistant to the spread of flames in the event of fire. People can live and work in quieter, more comfortable spaces, and patients in our hospitals can get well in safer, healthier surroundings. And like all Rockwool facilities, this new Ranson plant will contribute to the economic well-being of the local community. Over 120 full-time employees have already been hired, and more will join our Rockwool family of almost 12,000 skilled and passionate employees worldwide. It creates new opportunities for local businesses and contractors to grow their businesses. And we contribute through our commitment to important social and recreational programs, helping to reduce carbon emissions, creating safer, healthier, and more comfortable indoor environments, contributing to the local economy, all made possible by releasing the natural power of stone to enrich modern living, right here in Ranson, West Virginia.
It's the only company I've ever encountered that in my interview process asked me what I wanted from them, not what they could get from me. And the management, the employee treatment, it's just, I've never experienced it anywhere else. It's amazing.
So why don't I pause there for just a second, and let me go to Weir High School first. What's something that kind of stood out to you in the video that we just watched?
My students wanted to know what happened in the Denmark facilities. What happened to them? Are they still operating the original one?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that we are. We have several factories in Denmark, and as a matter of fact, our Ranson facility very much is patterned after, designed in a very similar way to our Danish factories. As I mentioned earlier, because our finished product contains predominantly air, it really doesn't make sense to ship our finished product long distances. Even though we operate now in 51 different countries, including Denmark, most of our finished product does not pass country borders. It is, produced and sold and utilized within the countries in which we make it. So yes, our factories in Denmark still operating well. In the Ranson factory, pretty much used one of our Danish factories in Donze, Denmark, as the prototype for this factory. So if you visited our Donze factory in Denmark as well as our Ranson factory, you'd probably see a lot of similarities because it's very similar in overall design. How about Valley High School? Anything that you saw there in the video that you found interesting, or something that you didn't know beforehand?
The one thing that stood out to me was like in the interview process where they asked what they could do for you instead of like what you could bring to the table. And then a question that I had was like, how many job titles does your company have? Like, is there office jobs, labor jobs? Like, how many titles are those?
That's a great question. Just a few moments, we'll show you a few of the job, let you hear from a few of our employees. Stephanie serves as our human resources manager. Stephanie, how many different roles would you say that you have here at our Ranson facility? And then to the extent that you're aware, how many additional roles would you guess are located in North America or around the world?
So here in Ranson, if I had to guess how many different jobs they are, by different job title, I would probably say 40, just because we do have labor jobs and there's different levels of labor. We have our entry-level operators, we have our skilled laborers running the machinery, we have our skilled, what we call melters, and they're the ones that get to make the lava that makes the insulation. So they run this really large furnace. We have maintenance. And then we also have a lot of support positions. So like HR, factory management, accounting, buyers, engineering. And then in North America, man, there's really just no end to it because we have so many different support divisions. In addition to accounting, we have transportation and logistics. So anyone that's looking to go into warehousing or logistics, We have supply chain. So those are the folks that negotiate with all of our outside vendors. We have IT. We have a very large engineering department. So there's a mix of everything. There's, the entry level labor jobs, and then we also have those office positions that do require some secondary education. So it's a little bit of mix of both.
Stephanie and I, are primarily involved in the production aspect of Rockwool's operations. This is a factory location. This is where we're actually manufacturing the product, but that's really where, a lot of the process just begins. Of course, we have a pretty extensive sales staff that meets with customers, your building supply customers like Home Depot, Lowe's. If you go to any of those home supply or retail outlets, chances are you'll find our product in there back in the insulation section. Also, a lot of the other larger kind of specialty business supply stores that sell to large contractors. If you have a contractor that is in the construction business, they typically will have building material supply stores that they frequent and purchase materials. It could be a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but it very well could be a specialty building supply store. And so we have folks that regularly work very closely with those businesses. They work with architects to make sure that our products are the products that folks want and understand how to utilize when they're building homes or building commercial facilities. Great question.
Okay, so we actually have one more question going back to like the different job titles and things. What kind of degrees do you prefer for your employees?
So Stephanie, why don't you start off with that?
So it really depends on the position. Really any background I would think other than medical we could use. So, we have research and development. So people that have a scientific background. Our quality manager here in Ranson actually has a chemistry background. So he went to school for chemistry. Never did he think he'd be working in, making stone wool insulation, but here he is. So really it's a number of things, and it really depends on the position. So if you're looking to work on our manufacturing floor, there really is no secondary education requirement for that. That's really just on the job training. There may be some trade training for like our mechanics and our electricians. So that would be at like a 2-year school or a vocational school. Now, as you move into different positions, some of them do require secondary education, like a college degree. And those would mainly be focused on things that are business related. So finance, accounting, maybe even some research and development. So there really is no answer to what degrees we prefer. We have people that have college degrees, but they decided to pursue something completely separate from their degree. So it's not a requirement to work here at Rockwool. It's not a requirement for any of our positions that I'm aware of, other than our engineering positions. Those are the ones where you really have to have a college background in some form of engineering, whether it's mechanical, industrial, electrical. But our other positions, I know some, like I said before, some folks went to school for literature and now they find themselves working in manufacturing. So it's really just how they were able to gain additional life skills and really market themselves and pivot themselves into a different career. A good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. It really leads into this next slide that I'll share. In that, we continue to hire, even though we're currently at about 130 team members, which is about the number that we need based on the production schedule that we have right now. We're always looking for quality individuals. We do anticipate that while we're currently operating Sunday afternoon through Friday morning, we do anticipate within the next few years, we'll probably add some weekend shifts to where here at our Ranson facility, we'll probably begin operating 24/7. We have fixed 8-hour shifts, which seems to be popular among our production staff, as opposed to some other options where sometimes they'll work several days and then off a few days. Some folks really enjoy that type of schedule. We find that a lot of our employees appreciate having, a fixed 8-hour schedule that they can kind of call theirs. They may want to work just your typical daytime hours, But some prefer an afternoon to evening shift, or some of them like that late night shift, just depending on what works well for them. So we do have those options, and like I say, we will probably offer some weekend shifts here. Probably within 2 years, I would estimate we will probably add some weekend shifts. Here you can see some of the positions that we're hiring for right now. Stephanie kind of described some of our production staff. We have warehouse staff as in addition to maintenance. You can see there for our entry level folks, and these would be folks like yourselves that are graduating from high school. You can see that we start off at $18.50 an hour, which is a pretty competitive wage, particularly here in the Eastern Panhandle. For folks that have mechanic skills or electrician skills, you can see that you can really do well, even starting off, here at Rockwool, $31.50 an hour for mechanics, $34 an hour for electricians. If you have vocational technical schools in your area, which I suspect that you do, I know we have a regional VOTEC center, James Rumsey VOTechnical Education Center here in the Eastern Panhandle, where a number of our high school students go to get some additional skills, particularly in the trades. You can see if you come out of one of those schools with some mechanics or electrician skills, particularly if you end up with some additional experience along the way, you can do very well here, really make a good career for yourself. One other kind of exciting new opportunity here at our Ransom facility, we've recently opened what we call our Group Technology North America Hub. And so these would be folks that absolutely would have more advanced degrees, including engineering degrees. One of the things that we discovered during COVID is that it was a little bit of a challenge for some of our European colleagues who helped design a lot of the equipment that's used in our factories to get over here because of travel restrictions. And so now that we have 4 manufacturing factory locations here in North America, it really made sense to have our own engineering hub here, as opposed to relying as heavily as we have in the past on some of our European colleagues who have that engineering expertise. So we've just started an engineering hub here. We have a couple engineers that are joining us on staff, and their job will be to help engineer new factories as we continue to build out our factory network here in North America. Again, helping ensure that we have factories close to where customers are demanding our products. We'll have engineers right here in the United States that can help design those factories, or as we continually try to upgrade our facilities, we'll have staff here that can travel around to those factory locations and help oversee those. Stephanie, anything that you wanted to add with regard to the technology hub?
No, other than if anyone is considering pursuing an engineering degree, this is a really great opportunity for someone that is fresh out of college with very little experience. We are looking for junior people as we continue to develop this team. It involves a lot of traveling, so a lot of traveling to our different factories in Asia, Europe, Canada. So a very exciting position for someone that wants to see the world on their company's dime. So I'll just put that little plug in there. If anyone's thinking about going to school for engineering, when you graduate, please keep us in mind.
And I should probably mention, and I don't have it on the slide, I really should, but if you are interested in positions at Rockwool, you can go to rockwool.com, or rockwooljobs.com actually goes directly to the employment section of our website. And those are positions for throughout North America. You'll be able to see any of those jobs that are available, including the ones here at Ransom. Again, rockwooljobs.com. Here's a video that we thought, and I think I see a question maybe in the chat. So let me see. Oh, thank you very much.
I was just sharing that link with them.
That is great. So this next little video really allows a few of our employees, I think we have 4 employees, that will briefly just kind of describe what their kind of day-to-day looks like. So I think you'll find this interesting as well. And for some reason, it's not letting me click it in here. Oh, there we go.
I'm Gene Rankin. I'm a K2 trainer here at Rockwool. My responsibilities, I train the key technicians to learn the line to help them achieve the goals for production. The key technician is responsible for producing quality wool here at Rockwool. We check all measurements, the density, the thickness, and make sure we are running the correct product. And we walk the line, check for maintenance, any issues like that. You start out as a machine tech or a PMO, and if you meet those qualifications, you have an opportunity here to train in the key technician role. The PMO is in charge of the dump gate, and he's looked for any quality issues that he sees, and he will drop any bad product into the waste granulator. And the K2 technician is constantly monitoring all levels throughout the oven, your curing process, measurements, and he'll do a quality check every half hour. I've been at Rockwool for over 2 years. I started out as a PMO, running the gate, and I qualified for that, and once that happened, I started training for the key technician. I did the key technician for about 6 months, then I became a key technician trainer, and that's what I've been doing currently. Pay is obviously one of the big things. The pay here is very good. The benefits, the hours, and the environment itself is wonderful. The people I work with, it's so easy when all departments are on the same page, and it just makes your workday easier. Showing up for work's one, and I found just paying attention and ask questions. I mean, that gets you farther than what you would really think. And once the training here, like I said, is pretty good, and they find your skill set, and they are very good at directing you which path you should take with your skill set. When you got a good team, it makes your day so easy. And sometimes I feel guilty because you got a good team where it's so good, and all you do is just sit there and watch and make sure nothing bad happens. And the help we have for the mechanical, electrical, the warehouse, everybody's involved, and they all got the same goal. So it really makes it easy.
My name is Heather, and I'm a quality technician. A quality technician will go to the line, and we test the product that we make. We make sure that it tests and passes all minimum specifications to make sure that we are providing a good quality product for our customers. We take samples 1 every hour, and then we test them for LOIs, tensile, binder, and oil. When we first go to the line, we want to measure them with their dimensions, their length and their width. Then we also want to check the weight to make sure that they are within their minimum specification. Then we also want to check the thickness to make sure that they are also thick enough, and there is also a minimum. We then bring them into the lab, and we cut them into many different shapes and sizes, and depending on the test, we test it. We do a SLR, which tests our fiber diameters, which gives us our R value. Insulation needs R value. Then we will also test the tensile to see how strong it is, how far it takes to pull it apart before it rips. I did work in a quality lab before for about three and a half years before I came here. You really don't need any kind of qualifications. We come in and we'll train you to do this type of position. It is all trained from within. The advice I would give is to do good in math and go to school every day.
I'm Kathy. I'm a machine technician here at Rockwool. We have multiple machines that we run. We have baggers, and we have this bundler, which is where I'm at right now. Our wool comes off the line, goes into a bag. It proceeds on down the line, comes to the bundler, and it bundles into a 2 3 or 4 pack bundle before it goes to our robots down in unit load and gets stacked on a pallet and sent to the warehouse. Quality is everybody's responsibility. So down here at the bundler, I'm going to be looking that it's got the correct labels in the correct bags, in the correct size of bundle. If there is an issue with the size of the bundle, then I would be taking those measurements. After I take the measurements, I would see where I need to go. I'd go to the WinCC and make an adjustment to either make it a smaller bundle or a larger bundle. If a product gets jammed inside of our bundler itself, then I would have to stop the bundler completely, make sure I safely lock out, go inside, clear the jam. It is an automatic machine for the most part, so you can operate the different procedures from the WinCC in order to get the jam to clear. Other than that, you know, you just have to kind of pull it out by hand, manually, and then you can start up from there. I've been with Rockwool going on 2 years. I started as a GO, which GO kind of does just about anything that they ask you, which is not a problem with me, and I wanted to work my way up. I made it to machine tech, so I'm operating the machines, baggers, bundler. I've learned how to operate the robots in unit load and all the machines down there. I've also been trained in the lab so that I can be a backup if they need help. The training here is really phenomenal. We get pretty extensive training. You have a lot of things that's at your fingertips as far as the training manuals. We have Ruth, who has put everything onto tablets so that we can bring the tablet to our line and we can go through and learn as much as we want to. Just, there's no stopping how much you want to learn. Rockwool will be a great place to start. They have amazing benefits. The pay is great. We're a whole great team to work for. You know, we're local. The place has been in business for a very long time. As far as knowledge, you can come in with whatever knowledge that you already have, and Rockwool will give you the knowledge that you need in order to succeed here. And there's possibilities on every corner if you just want to take the opportunity. When you come in here, just come in with a full open mind, ready to learn and absorb as much as you can, and just treat everything with top quality, because that's how we want the product to go out.
My name is James, and I'm a warehouse person. So what we do is consolidate. We run off the line, take things off the line. What I basically do is load and unload trucks. When I come in, there's a list on the table, usually. But sometimes you come in and you have to wait for a truck to come. But you get an order sheet, and then you read off, well, you have to look at to see what's on the truck, what's going on the truck, how many is going in the truck, and then from there you figure out how you want to situate it in the truck to make it fit. In order to be a warehouse person, you have to know where things are. For me, I'm pretty much, like I said, I ship and load and ship, but just, it's a team-oriented organization, so, you know, we help each other out as far as if they get in trouble up there on the line. We make sure that, you know, as a team, we get things put back, put in the right places, and, you know, make sure the numbers are coordinated in the right, everything's right in right situations, you know. For me, I wasn't really familiar with loading and unloading trucks as far as the coordinating of that. So I had to learn, you know, ways of putting it in the truck to make it fit, and, you know, make sure that it arrived without falling out the truck when they open the doors. But other than that, it was pretty much just learning how to situate the stuff in the truck. It could be hectic at times, but one thing that my supervisors have told me is just to take my time and not to worry about how far behind you are, or, you know, just so that way you do a good job of making sure you don't make a lot of mistakes. So, you know, even though it gets hectic, you have to stay mentally sound to where, you know, you can make sure you do the things right and get the right stuff in the trucks. So, you know, just tell me to be patient and, you know, not to rush. I live really close to here, you know, so what really attracted me was it's a new up-and-coming company, and it's like 5 minutes from my house, and I just wanted an opportunity to start out in a new place.
All right, well, a lot to unpack there, but I think hopefully you get a sense of as to the opportunities that are available here, particularly for entry level roles. If I think you hopefully heard, within probably each of those statements, folks that have started off at an entry level role and have already within, we haven't even been in production for a full 2 years. You already see folks that have gone from entry level technicians to supervisors now. So anything else that before we turn it over to Stephanie for the next part of the presentation, any other questions? Valley High School, anything that you saw there that you had a question about?
One question I had was like the prices of the products. What's some of the prices for those?
Great question. Our Rockwool stone wool insulation is considered a premium insulation. There are other products that you'll find at a building supply store, typically that are made out of fiberglass as opposed to stone wool made from stone, like our insulation. I'd say there's probably about a 10% differential for a bag of our insulation, our kind of our signature brand, which is our Comfort Mat. A bag of that probably runs about $70 for a bag, but it does run about 10% more expensive than your less expensive fiberglass type products. One of the big differentiators with our product, and you may have noticed this from the video that we showed earlier, our product is non-combustible. Because it's made out of rock, you can literally hold a flame under it and it won't catch fire. And as more and more cities and areas of the United States specify the use of non-combustible building products in homes and businesses, that obviously makes our product more popular to where folks are willing to pay a little extra in order to get that extra peace of mind, knowing that they're using a building product that's not going to, be combustible in the event of a fire, in a home or a business. The other big advantage, which again I've already alluded to, is the acoustical properties. The fact that you can put stone wool insulation not only in your exterior walls, but we do have products are safe and sound that you can put in interior walls or in ceilings that will really soundproof an area. If you're renovating a basement, for example, or a playroom, you put our stone wool insulation in the walls around that play area or an area where you're going to have noise, like in a family room or a place where you have like a home theater. It really does help make sure that activity in one part of your house or business doesn't interfere with another part of your house or business. Great question.
So I think we had one more question, and it was, how many different types of insulation do you produce?
Yeah, I think
No, she's not.
Has anyone seen her?
No, we haven't.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
No, certainly understand that's part of the process. So just here at our Ranson factory, I was at a presentation the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, but I think just here at our Ranson facility, I think we have a couple hundred different products. Now, different products, they could just be different sizes. We try to provide what our customers are looking for. So here at our facility, we not only make insulation that goes into wall spaces and ceiling spaces, we actually make insulation that will go on top of roofs. We make insulation that can be used with other building products. You can actually sandwich our insulation in between.
Caitlin, Wyatt, come to the office, please. Caitlin, come to the office.
You can actually put our product between other products that are made by other people. So just several hundred here, and you look at some of our other factories, our Grand Forks, British Columbia factory up in Western Canada, they make specialty insulation that surrounds piping that they use in the oil and gas industry or out on these rigs that are out in the oceans that are involved in the energy sector. Those have to be very well insulated. And so we actually have specialty insulation that goes around those pipes. Again, we don't make that product here at our Ranson factory, but we do make it here in North America.
So I did want to start with just kind of like a little pop quiz question. What do you guys think? So adults can make upwards of 35,000 of these a day. So what do you guys think these could be?
Choices.
Yeah, so it's very close. Decision. So as you get older, you probably think that you're tired at the end of the day. Well, because you make 35,000 decisions a day. So out of these decisions, 35,000, most of them are subconscious. Those are decisions that we really don't spend a whole lot of time on. We don't expend a lot of energy debating them, but out of the 35,000, adults do make about 122, which are considered informed decisions a day. And those are decisions that you really need to analyze data and expend some energy really thinking about. So Paul, if you can go 2 slides ahead, we'll skip the next one. You guys got it, decisions. And just kind of as a fun fact, how many decisions do you think we make about food alone every day? Yep, so we make 200 decisions a day just alone about food. So as humans, we have a very rapid, instinctive way to make decisions, and that's very subconscious. Those are ones we don't really think about. And we have a thoughtful, deliberate way to make decisions. And that's really what we're going to focus on today is the decision-making process. Well, if you can go forward. So just really simple, a decision is just an action or determination made after considering your options. And the decision-making process, it's a process that we follow to examine those options before taking action. Next slide, there we go. So some of the reasons why it's just so important to make good decisions, it really just boils down to, it's a critical life skill. And this life skill can have a major impact on your future as well as the future of others. Good decision making also impacts how you solve problems that you may come across in general in your life. And strong decision making skills, it also helps you avoid negative consequences that could have a long-term impact in your life as well as the lives of others. Also want to move forward. Also working on developing good decision making skills. Good decision makers, they generally save time. They earn respect from their peers and colleagues. Good decision making also prevents conflict and it increases productivity. And it also has a major impact on other important life skills, like the ones you see listed here. So critical thinking, increased confidence, it reduces stress and anxiety. I think we all need that now. It improves communication. It also helps you develop stronger relationships. And then some of the ways that we make decisions, we have different decision-making models. So these are things that your brain really goes through without you realizing it. So some of the models that you'll use to solve problems or make a decision, you'll have the rational model, bounded rationality, intuitive, as well as creative. And you're not going to just use one model your entire life. You probably use 1 or 2 of these models in your decision making so far in your life, and you will grow to eventually use all 4 of these depending on what decision you have to make. One model won't be effective for every problem that you encounter along your way. So it's really important to know when to use which model. And again, it's not something that you really think about like, oh, I have this decision, so I'm going to use this model. It's something that takes place subconsciously without you even thinking about it. So the rational model, that would be used if you have a lot of data that can be analyzed. Bounded rationality, and I'm sure some of you have used this in school. This is really just the good enough option. So say if you have a lot of assignments due, you have some big projects due, having a hard time with time management, you might say, hey, this paper is good enough. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. So you've made that decision that you're not going to spend any more time on it. It's just good enough. So you're just going to go ahead and submit it. And then you have the intuitive model. And this is something where you use your intuition. So you have to find yourself in a familiar situation. So this really isn't effective for people that don't have a lot of knowledge or experience. But as you gain more life experience, you'll start using this intuitive model. So this is where you have like a gut feeling, or you just kind of have this instinct that's telling you which decision to make. And then we have creative. And creative really means that you have to think outside the box. You really have to dedicate yourself to solve this problem in order to come up with a solution that is new and imaginative. And then there's different decision-making styles. Most of these you can kind of infer what that style is from the name. So agonizer, this is someone that just really has a lot of anxiety and stress when it comes to making decisions. The mystic, this is someone that uses their intuition to make decisions. Fatalist, this is someone that feels like they don't have any control over any decision that they make. We probably know a few people of these in our lives. These are folks that always think all these bad things always happen to them and they have no control over it. We have the evader. So these are people that just don't like making decisions and they'll wait till the last minute to make it. And then the plunger, and this is someone that just kind of dives headfirst into making decisions. It doesn't matter what it is. They're just going to commit to it and they're going to kind of go through with it without thinking. And then we have a delegator. So a delegator does not make decisions. They leave that up to somebody else. So if you've ever been with a friend and you're like, well, what do you want to eat? Whatever you want, that's a delegator. So they push that decision on someone else. And then we also have a planner. So a planner is someone that uses a thought process and has a very specific way that they like to go about making decisions. It's just a little bit more thought out. You can have all these decision-making styles at any time in your life. You could be a planner at work and a delegator at home. You want somebody else to make all the decisions in your personal life, but in your professional life, you really think through it. So you'll use all of these styles probably at some point within your life, and you won't ever be committed to one. There'll always be one where you're just kind of more drawn to. But again, that's something that you need to figure out as you learn and practice decision-making skills. Well, we can go through. So one of the things that actually kind of runs behind the scenes in our brain when we go through decision making is called the ladder of inference. And this is usually the process that we go through to get from a fact to a decision. And we're just going to watch a quick video about the ladder of inference. So Paul, if you just want to go to the next slide.
Imagine a microscopic-sized ladder contained in the part of our brain that will label our subconscious. The ladder of inference, which was first proposed by Harvard professor Chris Argyris, is the basis of this model. Every time we interact with someone, that experience enters the ladder at the bottom. That same experience zips up the ladder in the blink of an eye, exiting at the top. This process happens thousands of times a day without us knowing it. Let's focus on what happens on each rung of the ladder. On the first rung, we have the raw data and observations of our experience. This is very similar to what someone watching a video recording of our experience would see. Moving up to the second rung, we filter in specific information and details from our experience. We unknowingly filter based on our preferences, tendencies, and many other aspects that we believe are important. Onto the third rung, we assign meaning to the information we have filtered through. This is where we start to interpret what our information is telling us. On the fourth rung, a very crucial thing happens. We develop assumptions based on the meaning we created on the previous rung, and we start to blur the distinction between what is fact and what is story. On the fifth rung, we develop conclusions based on our assumptions. This is also where our emotional reactions are created. On the sixth rung, we adjust our beliefs about the world around us, including the person or people involved in our experience of the moment. On the seventh and final rung, we take action based on our adjusted beliefs. Still with me? Great! Let's take a real-life example and run it up the ladder to see how this all works. Have you ever been cut off in a parking lot, signal light on, as you steer toward your coveted spot only to slam on your brakes at the last minute as someone pulls in front of you and steals your spot away? Imagine that experience and notice all of the data and observations landing on the first rung of your ladder. Now let's watch what we pay attention to on the second rung. Who cares that it's sunny out and the birds are chirping? The 50% off sign outside of your favorite store is meaningless. You filter in the sensation of your grip tightening on the wheel, you feel your blood pressure rise, you hear the squeal of your brakes, and you notice the expression on the face of the other driver as he pulls in front of you and quickly looks away. Time for our third rung. Ever since you were young, your parents taught you the importance of waiting in line and taking your turn. You live and die by the rule of first come, first served. And now this guy has just stolen your spot. What gives? Up to the fourth rung we go. Watch closely as our assumptions take over and our story creates itself. That stupid jerk. Didn't his parents teach him anything? How could he not see my signal light? He must never pay attention. Why does he think he's more important than anyone else? Jumping quickly to the fifth rung, we conclude that this guy is heartless, inconsiderate. He needs to be taught a lesson and put in his place. We feel angry, frustrated, vindictive, justified. On our sixth rung, we adjust our beliefs based on the experience. That's the last time I give in. Next time someone tries to cut me off, tires will be smoking on the pavement as I squeal past them into my spot. And finally, our last rung, we take action. We back up, pull up behind his car, honk our horn, and roll down our window to scream a few choice words his way. Now, imagine, he walks over quickly, apologizing. His wife, who is almost due with their first baby, called him from inside the mall to say she is in labor and needs to get to the hospital immediately. We are momentarily shocked, apologize profusely, and wish him luck as he rushes toward the entrance. What just happened here? What changed? Why is this so significant? In our parking lot example, our beliefs were short-circuited by the ladder of the other individual. My wife is in labor. I need to get there quick. There's a parking spot. Phew! Oh, geez, I cut someone off. I better apologize quickly so they don't think I'm a jerk. But what if we were able to short-circuit our ladders ourselves, proactively, by choice? Guess what? We can. Let's return to our unique human function of free will. Next time you notice yourself reacting to your experience, pay focused attention to your ladder. Ask yourself what beliefs are at play, and where did they come from? What data and observations did you filter in as a result of your beliefs, and why? Are your assumptions valid and supported by facts? Would a different set of assumptions create different feelings and result in new and better conclusions and actions? We all have our own unique ladder. Be mindful of yours and help others to see theirs.
Let's see here is make sure for some reason it's not letting me advance again. I'm going to stop sharing for a second here probably. And I know we're running just about out of time here.
Yeah, so I think unless Stephanie, you have any more things that you want to add, I know that our school needs to do a wrap up. So I'm going to just ask them if they have any last questions that they would like to ask Rockwool before they have to go.
No, we are good. They've been taking lots of notes and we've been brainstorming throughout the whole video and the other clips.
Okay. How about you, Rockwool? Is there anything else you want to wrap up with specifically?
No, just really appreciate your attention this morning. I know it's always a busy time Monday morning, so appreciate you being with us. And hopefully you found something that will encourage you to, if you're looking for an opportunity down the road, certainly reach out to us. We'd love to have you come over. Again, if you're ever over visiting here in the Eastern Panhandle, reach out to us. We're happy to have you visit the factory.